Brothers and sisters, Francis Santaros here. Just bringing in a little study about Mary, Martha, and Lazarus. This is a family that Jesus loved a lot. It starts in John 11, and it starts like this. It says, "Now a certain man was sick, Lazarus of Bethany, the town of Mary and her sister Martha. It was that Mary who anointed the Lord with fragrant oil and wiped his feet with her hair, whose brother Lazarus was sick. Therefore the sisters went to him, saying, Lord, behold, he whom you love is sick." Now, so they referred to their brother as a person that Jesus loved. It must have been that this Lazarus was special to Jesus. They must have had a special relationship. And there's another story where Jesus is at their house, and Mary sits down at Jesus's feet to just listen to what Jesus has to say. And Martha's up there cooking and cleaning and busy and doing all this stuff, and Mary's just sitting at the feet, just soaking it up, just soaking it up. And Martha starts banging pans and getting all mad because Mary's down there and Martha's in working, and Martha comes out. She says, "Jesus, don't you care that I'm in here slaving and she's sitting at your feet, and I'm working and I'm doing this and I'm making you food and she's not helping me?" And Jesus goes, he has to yell at her twice. He's like, "Martha," and she's still rah, 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 rah. "Martha!" You know, like, your focus is wrong. Mary's doing what she needs, what she knows she's supposed to be doing. You're busy about the things of the world. I don't care about that stuff. Come over here and sit down with me, Martha. See, Mary had a special place in Jesus' heart, and Jesus had a special place in Mary's heart. Mary was special to Jesus. Martha loved Jesus, but she was busy with the things of the world. It wasn't that important to her to sit at Jesus' feet, not like it was with Mary. And there's Mary pouring oil on his feet, wiping it off with her hair. And you know, back then they didn't have shoes. They wore sandals, and everything wasn't concrete. They walked around on dusty roads. Your feet got filthy and they were hot. And one of the most refreshing things that could happen to you was when you went or entered into a place, they would give you a bowl to wash your feet and wash all that dust and that dirt off and cool your feet off. Because look, it's in the desert. You know, when your feet are hot, your whole body's hot. So it was a real refreshing thing. And she poured expensive oil on his feet, and she washed it with her hair. So Mary had a special place in Jesus' heart. And the story goes like this. So when Jesus came, he found that Lazarus had already been in the tomb 4 days. Now Bethany was near Jerusalem, about 2 miles away. Many of the Jews had joined the women around Martha and Mary to comfort them concerning their brother. And I want you to remember that. The Jews were around Martha and Mary. Okay, now who were these Jews? They were the ones that were always trying to catch Jesus and twist his words around and use them against him. They were the ones that were looking to kill him. They were the ones around here. Now Martha, as soon as she heard that Jesus was coming, went to meet him, but Mary was sitting in the house. Now Martha said to Jesus, "Lord, if you had been here when my brother would not have died. Even now I know whatever you ask God, God will give you." Jesus says to her, "Your brother will rise again." Martha said to him, "I know that he will rise again in the resurrection at the last day." Jesus said to her, "I am the resurrection and the life. He who believes in me, though he may die, he shall live. And whoever lives and believes in me shall never die. Do you believe this?" Now, he's talking about eternal life, and she knows he's talking about eternal life, but he's also talking about Lazarus right now. She just doesn't recognize it. She said to him, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who has come into the world." Then she said these things. And when she had said these things, she went away and secretly called Mary, her sister, saying, "The teacher has come and is calling you." As soon as Mary heard that, she arose quickly and came to him. Now Jesus had not yet come into the town, but was in the place where Martha met him. Then the Jews, again, those Jews that were always trying to catch Jesus and twist his words around against him and use them against him, then the Jews who were with her in the house and comforting her, when they saw that Mary rose up quickly and went out, they followed her, saying, "She is going to the tomb to weep there." Then when Mary came where Jesus was and saw him, she fell down at his feet, saying to him, "Lord, if you had been here my brother would not have died. Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, now remember their relationship. This is a woman who loved Jesus, and she had a special place in Jesus' heart because he saw her dedication. He saw her love. She wasn't like her sister, busy with the world. She abandoned everything in the world for Jesus. She would just sit at his feet. This is what he loves. And this woman now, she's in torment over this thing, and she's been around the Jews. Don't forget that. This part of the story, this is what God showed me about this story. Therefore, when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who came with her. So here comes Mary, and then he sees the Jews that were around her, the vipers, the brood of vipers, the dead man's bones. He saw them, and he realized, oh, they've been around Mary. They've been around my baby, my lamb, my little lamb, the one that I've been teaching about faith, about hope, about love. She's been with the Jews. Are you hearing me? And they're evil, and they're sowing their discord, and they're, what did God say? What did Jesus say about them? How did he talk about those Jews? Wasn't flattering at all. And she said, and he said to them, where have you laid him? They said to him, Lord, come and see. Then Jesus wept. Now, everyone teaches this? Jesus loved Lazarus so much he wept. Well, that doesn't even make any sense. Why? Because Jesus knew he was going to raise Lazarus. Well, how do we know that? Well, look back what it says here. It says that they were saying, the disciples said to him, Rabbi, lately the Jews sought to stone you, and you're going there? And hold on. Oh, no. When Jesus heard what they said about Lazarus, Jesus said, this sickness is not unto death, but for the glory of God, that the Son of God may be glorified. So he's not dead. He's dead, but he's not unto death. I'm going to raise him up so God may be glorified. You know, he says, and then over there in verse 11, he says, our friend Lazarus only sleeps, but I go to wake him up. So Jesus knows he's going to wake him up. So he's not crying about Lazarus, okay? That doesn't even make any sense. What's he crying about? Mary. He's crying about what happened to Mary, having been out of his presence for just a short time, what those Jews sowed into her, all that unbelief. She stopped believing. When he left her, she was so full of faith, she would have never been distraught like that. She would have just been, oh, Lord, you're here. Okay, now Lazarus arise. But she's distraught because those Jews have been sowing such ugly, hateful unbelief in her heart. And they said to him, Lord, come and see. And Jesus wept. Then the Jews said, see how he loved him. And some of them said, could not this man have opened the eyes of the blind, also have kept this man from dying? And Jesus, again groaning in himself, came to the tomb. It was a cave, and the stone laid against it. And Jesus said, take away the stone. Martha, the sister of him who was dead, said to him, Lord, by this time there's going to be a stench, for he's been dead for 4 days. And Jesus said, did I not say to you that if you would believe, you would see the glory of God? Then they took the stone away, and the story goes, Lazarus comes out like a mummy. All right? And this is what God showed me on this was when he wanted me to teach about today was it's really, really important who you surround yourself with. And I know for some of you guys, you just don't have other believers. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you, but I do know if you're around unbelief, unbelief will get all over you. It got all over Mary. When Jesus left her, she was full of faith, full of belief, and just being around the Jews for a couple of days, it sucked all the faith out of her. And Jesus didn't weep because of Lazarus. He knew he was going to raise him. He wept because of what they did to Mary. His little baby Mary. When he left her, she was just a jewel. She was a gem, full of faith, full of hope, full of love. And by the time she spent 4 or 5 days with the Jews, they sucked all that out of her. They just ruined her, and that broke his heart. It broke his heart to see. And because he knows it. He knows. Y'all, I want to encourage you, find like-minded people. If you've got people in your life that are Debbie Downers and naysayers and have no faith, limit your time with them. Even if it's you who are the one that's trying to encourage them, trust me. And look at it like this. if you were standing on a chair and somebody else was down on the ground, would it be easier for you to pull them up on the chair or for them to yank you down on the ground? Assuredly, you are not getting them up on the chair. They're pulling you down. It is easier to pull somebody down than it is to pull somebody up. And I'm not saying don't go out there and feed the sheep. This is our job. We're supposed to do that. But I'm talking about the people you spend the majority of your time with. The people you call your friends, the people you call your confidants, your brothers, your sisters, your best friends. Make sure that you're choosing wisely, that you're surrounding yourself with like-minded people, people that are full of faith and hope, people that walk in love, people that are kind and I know there's not a lot of them out there, and it's sad to say, but pray about it. If you don't have somebody, pray that God would bring you somebody. I did. It was awesome. It was just awesome. There was a time when I was feeling kind of lonely. I was like, man, I need an iron. They say iron sharpens iron. I need an iron. And so God is faithful. But hey, I just want to say I love you guys, and that was the lesson today. Short and quick. I kept it at 11 minutes. Hey, maybe I can even tell a story. Hold on. Okay, I got a story, and it's not about being saved or anything. I have some life stories that are just funny stories. And so I'm teaching martial arts, right? And I'm young. I'm young, but I was really good. I was really good. And I don't mean to be bragging or anything, but I was successful. I was extremely successful. And I had some students who were young men. I had this one guy, Jay McJunkin. He was about 30. He was strong and fast and athletic, and I was a lot, I was in early 20s by then, and older guys, they have this thing, it's kind of a macho thing. They don't ever want to get beat up by a young kid, but he respected me. He knew I was good. He was my student, and as he got higher in the ranks of black belt, they get to feeling their oats, and they think they're getting good. And we were sparring around before class one time, just kind of, light sparring, just having fun, because you can actually fight really hard and still stay friends. It's not a big deal. We actually banged on each other hard, and went out and had dinner afterwards and had a beer or something. It was cool. So I threw a kick, and he leaned away, and it missed, and I'm not going full speed or anything, I'm just kind of going. And I threw another kick, and he leaned away, and he looked at me, and we were both bouncing around, bouncing around. He goes, I'm getting pretty fast, aren't I? I'm getting pretty good. Bam! And I hit him in the middle of the sentence. It's like, you think you're getting fast? Bam! I hit him with a turning kick straight on his face, straight on, and knocked him out. Boom, just like that. He was out. Before the words even came out of his mouth, he was knocked out. And I grabbed him by the shoulders and lowered him down. And I'm standing over him. I got one foot on each side of his hip, and I'm looking down. And his nose, he doesn't have a nose. It's flat. I promise you it is flat. It was like just flat. There's nothing there at all. There's no nose. He had no nose. And I thought, ooh, that's not good. And I looked at it, and I don't know what compelled me to do that, but I took my thumb and finger, and I just went like this. I went, and you could hear it going, and I kind of stood up, and it looked a little crooked, and I kind of, and I stood up, looked a little bit more, it looked just a little more crooked, and I built it back up, made it beautiful. It was perfect. It was absolutely perfect. I went to the restroom and got a little water and splashed it on him and woke him up. And he was like, he's laying there. What happened? What happened? And my guys were so tough, and they knew who I was. And so if I whacked them real good, they didn't get mad. They wore it like a badge of honor. I mean, they would walk around showing, hey, Quan Jim gave me a bruise right here. Check it out. Oh man, you got to fight him last night. I mean, for them it was like cool. So he was like, what happened? I said, I knocked you out. He smiled real big. He goes like, you did? And I said, yeah, you got some nose coming out, some blood coming out of your nose. Go wash it off. He's like, okay. And he gets up, and he's in there for just about 10 seconds. He goes, I hear him from the bathroom go, you broke my nose. And I'm like, oh, and this sinking feeling came down, and he stuck his head around the side. He's got this huge smile on his face, like, you broke my nose. And he's smiling from ear to ear, like it's a badge of honor for him. And I go, yeah, I'm sorry. How'd you know? He goes, it used to be crooked. My brother hit me with a baseball bat. Look at it. It's perfectly straight. I had the best guys back then. I had so many cool guys that just loved to fight. They were so tough. I had the best fighters in my school. All of them were just so tough. And he went to the doctor afterwards to have it checked out, and he came back, and I said, what did the doctor say? He said, you should be a doctor. I was like, what? He goes, yeah. He goes, after he checked it all out and did everything, he goes, that guy did a remarkable job. It's just absolutely perfect. Look at it, it's beautiful. Your sinus cavity is perfect. Everything's perfect. He said he did a great job. I don't have to do anything, because normally if you do that to your nose, they won't do anything to it. And like if it breaks and then it swells up real big, then they gotta wait for the swelling to go down and re-break it and then fix it. And then you got this delay time. But because I did it right then, before it started to swell, I don't know. But that was funny. He told that story to everybody, and I kept telling him, stop it, that doesn't make me look good, stop it. No, it was awesome, it was great, and no, I love it. I was like, stop telling that story to everybody. He told it to everybody. I went over to his house one night for a party. He invited me over for a Christmas party, I think. And he walked around, he's introducing me to all his friends. This is the guy that broke my nose. This is the guy that broke my nose. This is my instructor broke my nose. I'm like, stop telling everybody that. But good times, good times. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Have a nice day. Bye.